Hi everyone, I'm Kaylee from Roboflow, and I'm joined today by Jacob, a face that you are very familiar with. And today we're going to be talking about Roboflow Train and why you should use Roboflow Train. But let's start with the beginning. Jacob, what is Roboflow Train?
So Roboflow Train is an automated machine learning solution that you can use to transform any data set that you have in Roboflow into a trained model that you can also deploy efficiently. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the advantages of using a system like this. And I guess I just want to kick it off with sort of the first and kind of maybe most primary reason behind us building Roboflow Train, which is that in the machine learning process, there are all kinds of different hooks and pieces that are attached that can get pretty complicated to keep all in line. And often when these things are not implemented very carefully, it manifests itself in poor model performance. And it's just like slightly degraded model performance. And it's unlike other software, you can't just tell that there's an error or a bug, right? It manifests itself very subtly. So with Roboflow Train, you're using a battle-tested machine learning pipeline that is used by hundreds and thousands of developers going through the same pathway. So we think this is a really big advantage to it. And so Kaylee, what else do you think? What are some other reasons?
Well, I will add to this as a non-technical, I'm not a developer, a non-technical person coming into Roboflow. I think it's important to have your trained models in an ecosystem that is accessible by everyone on the team. So if your one machine learning engineer gets hit by a bus tomorrow, you're not completely lost and wondering where in these different products or services that he or she may have been using to train the model can you find the information that you need to get to. It's all in Roboflow. You can see each trained model right there, and you can also deploy it and see where it's been deployed to.
Definitely. That is a really big advantage, to have all of that. Kind of something, basically a separate service that you can leverage to integrate computer vision into your application while being a domain expert in the problem that you are tackling, but you don't have to worry about all of the computer vision and machine learning infrastructure around it. You can rely on Roboflow Train to take care of those things for you. And another really great part about it is, this whole process, this whole pipeline is enabled by a single click. And you can know that through that single click, you can focus on your data set and abstract away the necessities of that training process to this Roboflow Train pipeline. And the other thing Kaylee was started to touch on there was deployment solutions that are available with Roboflow Train, which is that, it's kind of a common misconception that people have sometimes when they go through Train, they think the model is locked up in Roboflow. And that is certainly not true. There are all kinds of different destinations that you can take your model after you have finished training, including hosted web inference and on-device deployments like the NVIDIA Jetson and the Oak device, and for your web browser as well. And more of those are coming all the time.
Absolutely. And speaking of deployment, let's talk a little bit about active learning. When you deploy your model, you're consistently collecting new and better data. Now, the low confidence images that your model is finding, you can send that right back into Roboflow as a new data set that you can then go through, annotate, and retrain, and in this way continually improve your model over time. This is a great way to prevent model decay, and it's a great way to just get your model to a place where it's even better than the human gaze.
Certainly. And as we were talking about before with the battle-tested machine learning pipeline, you know that you don't have to worry about any of those other dependencies as you're creating the model. You know that stays fixed. So you can check your data set as it's evolving in various steps. So that's another really powerful thing. One other thing we want to mention to you all is the ability to do model-assisted labeling after you do Roboflow Train. So what is model-assisted labeling, Kaylee? And how does it improve your labeling process?
We all know how time-consuming it can be to label all of those images. With Roboflow Train, we actually have a way for you to activate what we call Label Assist at the annotation tool. So it's a little wand that you can click on. You'll get some beautiful purple glitter, and Roboflow will actually automatically annotate the images within your data set for you. Now, it may not be perfect, but you will have the ability to choose the confidence rating at which you want the automatic annotation to take place. So if you want to just be middle of the road, you can say, I want any image that's 50% confident to be annotated automatically by Label Assist. You'll still have the ability to go through and fix those annotations. You can tighten them up or you can move them around. Hopefully you won't need to do too much tweaking to make it a perfectly annotated data set as you continue to add new images into your data set or the data that you're working with.
Definitely. That is definitely a compelling point behind Roboflow Train. I guess there's maybe one other thing that I'm thinking of before we wrap up on our discussion of Roboflow Train today, which is the ability to do transfer learning with Roboflow Train. So just like active learning as you're evolving your model, another thing you can do with Roboflow Train is transfer learning, where you start from a separate checkpoint, which allows your model to learn iteratively. So as it's learning from data, you can start from that checkpoint that the model already understands, sort of a base level understanding, and then leverage that learning in the next learning cycle. And since these things are all connected, like we mentioned before, it can just all seamlessly integrate.
Awesome.
So are there any other things that you were thinking of today, or is
those are the biggies? Those are the biggies. I would encourage anyone watching the video, if you have questions about Roboflow Train and you want to learn more about how the entire ecosystem within Roboflow works, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to show you, give you a few training credits so you can even roll up your sleeves and do it yourself.
Yeah, certainly. So thanks for joining us today to learn about Roboflow Train, and as we always say, happy training.
Happy training.